My wife Julia thinks I don't understand her. She made that crystal clear while packing her designer luggage for the company retreat last Thursday evening. David, you just don't get it, she said, folding her new silk blouse with practiced precision. Andrew understands me in ways you never could. He sees my potential. Andrew Hartwell, her boss, the Golden Boy CEO who'd been mentoring her for the past 6 months. I watched from our bedroom doorway as she carefully selected outfits that seemed far too elegant for corporate team-building exercises. Right, I said, keeping my voice level. He understands you. Got it. She paused, holding up a black dress that still had tags on it. Don't use that tone with me. This retreat is important for my career. Andrew specifically requested that I present the quarterly projections to the board members who'll be attending. I'm an IT security consultant. I've spent 15 years analyzing patterns, detecting anomalies, and identifying threats that others miss. When your wife starts working late 3 nights a week, buying new clothes, and mentioning her boss's name 17 times in casual conversation, the pattern becomes pretty obvious. When did you buy that dress? I asked. Last week. Monica helped me pick it out. She smiled at her reflection in our bedroom mirror. She said Andrew would appreciate the professional look. Monica, Julia's enabler friend who thought every married woman deserved to explore her options. The same Monica who'd been divorced twice and considered herself an expert on male psychology. Professional, I repeated. Sure. Julia turned to face me, her expression shifting to that patronizing look she'd perfected over our 17 years of marriage. You know what your problem is, David? You've gotten comfortable. You think because we have this house and Ethan's doing well in school that everything's perfect. But I need more. I need someone who challenges me intellectually. Our 16-year-old son Ethan appeared in the hallway behind me, his backpack slung over one shoulder. He'd inherited my analytical nature and his mother's sharp tongue. "Mom, your intellectual challenge is texting you," he said, holding up his phone. "Your screen's lighting up downstairs." Julia rushed past us toward the stairs. I followed at a distance and watched her grab her phone from the kitchen counter. Her face lit up as she read the message. "Andrew's confirming tomorrow's schedule," she announced. "We have a dinner meeting with the investors before the official retreat activities begin." "Dinner meeting?" I said. "How professional." Ethan snorted. "Dad, you should see the group chat. Everyone at school knows about Mom's boss situation." "Ethan," Julia snapped, "there's no situation. Andrew is my mentor and my superior. That's it." "Whatever helps you sleep at night, Mom." The tension in our kitchen could have been cut with a blade. Julia glared at both of us like we were conspirators in some plot to undermine her happiness. "I'm going to finish packing," she said. "David, I need you to understand that this weekend is crucial for my future, our future." After she left the room, Ethan leaned against the counter and shook his head. "Dad, she's not even trying to hide it anymore. Yesterday, she spent 2 hours getting ready for a regular workday." "I know, son." "So what are you going to do?" That was the question I'd been avoiding for weeks. What do you do when your wife of 17 years decides that her boss understands her better than you ever will? When she starts treating your shared life like it's some kind of prison she needs to escape from? I could confront her directly, but she'd already demonstrated her ability to rationalize any concern as jealousy or insecurity. I could hire a private investigator, but I didn't need photographic evidence of what I already knew was happening. No, this situation called for a different approach, something more creative. "Ethan, what do you know about Andrew Hartwell's family?" "His wife's name is Natalie. She's on Instagram, posts a lot about their charity work and their house in Westfield." He pulled up her profile on his phone. "She seems nice. Why?" I studied the photos of Natalie Hartwell. Blonde, well-dressed, probably early 40s. She had the kind of smile that suggested intelligence behind it. In several photos, she stood next to Andrew at various social events. He had his arm around her waist, both of them looking like the perfect corporate power couple. "Just curious," I said. That night, after Julia had gone to bed early to rest up for the retreat, I sat in my home office and did what I do best, research. Andrew Hartwell, age 45, married to Natalie for 12 years, no children.
He'd built his consulting firm from nothing into a multi-million-dollar operation. Clean record, no obvious scandals, active in local business circles. But everyone has digital footprints, and I'm very good at following those trails. By 2 in the morning, I had Natalie Hartwell's phone number, her email address, and a comprehensive understanding of her social media presence. She posted regularly about her volunteer work with animal rescue organizations. She seemed to genuinely care about causes beyond herself. She also posted about her marriage.
Recent photos showed her and Andrew at charity galas, business dinners, and weekend trips. But if you looked closely at the timestamps, you'd notice that her posts about their romantic getaways had become less frequent over the past 6 months. The same 6 months that Andrew had been mentoring my wife. Friday morning arrived with Julia in full preparation mode. She'd been up since 5:30, styling her hair and applying makeup with the precision of someone getting ready for a photo shoot. "The car service will be here in 20 minutes, she announced, checking her reflection one final time. Car service? Andrew arranged it. He thought it would be more efficient than driving separately. Of course he did. Ethan wandered into the kitchen in his pajamas, grabbed a bowl of cereal, and watched his mother's performance with undisguised amusement. "Mom, you know there are going to be other people at this retreat, right? Like actual work people?" "Of course there are. That's the point." "So why do you look like you're going to a wedding?" Julia's jaw tightened. "I look professional. There's a difference." The car service arrived exactly on time. Through our front window, I watched a black sedan pull into our driveway. "I'll be back Sunday evening," she said, giving me a perfunctory hug. "Try not to let Ethan live on pizza all weekend. We'll manage." She hesitated at the door, and for a moment I thought she might say something real, something honest about what was happening between us. Instead, she said, "David, I hope you'll think about what I said, about understanding." "Oh, I understand perfectly." After she left, Ethan and I stood at the window watching the sedan disappear down our street. Team building exercises, strategic planning sessions, networking with potential clients. She stirred her coffee slowly. "He mentioned that several of his employees would be presenting to board members, including my wife, including Julia, yes." We sat in silence for a moment, both of us acknowledging what we weren't saying directly. "Mrs. Hartwell, Natalie, can I ask you something?" "Of course." "When did you start noticing changes in Andrew's behavior?" She set down her coffee cup and looked directly at me. "About 6 months ago. He started working later, taking more business calls at home, paying more attention to his appearance." She paused. "He also started mentioning Julia quite frequently." "What kind of things did he say?" "That she was exceptionally bright, that she had leadership potential, that she reminded him of himself when he was starting out." Her smile was thin and cold. Classic mentor language. "And you believed that?" "Mr. Kessler, David, I've been married to Andrew for 12 years. I know the difference between professional admiration and personal interest." I leaned forward. "Then why haven't you confronted him?" "Because I wanted to be certain. And because I wanted to choose my response carefully." She met my eyes. "What about you? Why haven't you confronted Julia?" "Same reasons." We understood each other perfectly. "So, what are you proposing?" she asked. "Julia has been posting regularly on social media throughout this whole mentoring relationship. Photos from work events, updates about her projects, little glimpses into her professional life." I pulled out my phone and showed her Julia's Instagram account. She's built up quite a following among her colleagues and friends. Natalie scrolled through the recent posts. "She's very photogenic." She is, and she loves being the center of attention. I took back my phone. "I'm betting she'll post updates from the retreat, maybe even go live to show off the resort, the networking opportunities, her professional success." "You think she'll broadcast herself with Andrew?" "I think she's been broadcasting herself with Andrew for months. She just hasn't realized how obvious it's become to everyone watching." Natalie smiled, and this time it reached her eyes. "You want to watch together." "I want to be prepared to respond appropriately when the situation becomes public, which it will because Julia can't resist an audience." "And you think having Andrew's wife present for that moment would be educational?"
I think it would provide valuable context for anyone trying to understand the professional nature of their relationship. She laughed, a genuine sound that transformed her entire face. David, I think you and I are going to get along very well. We spent the next hour planning what we started calling our viewing party. Natalie would come to my house Saturday evening. We'd monitor social media together and be ready to provide real-time commentary if Julia decided to share her retreat experience with her followers. There's one more thing, Natalie said as we prepared to leave. I've been documenting Andrew's behavior changes for the past 2 months. Photos, screenshots of his social media activity, records of his schedule changes. If this situation becomes public, I want to be prepared. What kind of preparation? The kind that protects my interests in the divorce. I respected her planning. She was thinking several moves ahead, just like I was. Natalie, can I ask you something personal? Sure. Are you angry? She considered the question carefully. I'm disappointed. I'm hurt, but mostly, I'm tired of being treated like I'm too stupid to notice what's happening in my own marriage. She gathered her purse. What about you? I'm furious, but I'm also curious to see how this plays out. Curious? Julia thinks Andrew understands her better than I do. I'm interested to see how well he understands the consequences of his actions. Saturday evening arrived with Natalie punctually at 7 o'clock. She brought wine and a tablet loaded with social media monitoring apps. I thought we should be thorough, she explained. Ethan was spending the night at a friend's house, which gave us privacy for whatever might unfold. We settled into my living room with our devices arranged on the coffee table like a mission control center. Any activity yet? I asked. She posted a photo from the hotel lobby 2 hours ago. Very professional, just her standing next to a conference banner. Natalie showed me the image. 17 likes so far, mostly from colleagues. That's just the warm-up. We didn't have to wait long. At 8:15, Julia's Instagram account showed she was going live. The notification appeared on both our phones simultaneously. Here we go, I said. The live stream opened with Julia in what appeared to be the hotel bar. She looked radiant, her makeup perfect, her smile bright and engaging. Hi everyone, I'm here at the Grandview Resort for our company retreat, and I had to share this amazing space with you all. Look at this view. She turned the camera to show a panoramic window overlooking a lake. The setting was undeniably romantic. Do you think she'll actually come home tonight? Natalie asked. No. She'll spend the night trying to convince Andrew that they can manage the situation. They'll tell each other that it's all a misunderstanding that will blow over by Monday. And will it? I showed her my phone. I've been forwarding the screenshots to their HR department all evening. She smiled. You're very thorough. I learned from the best. Monday morning arrived with the kind of crisp October air that makes everything feel sharp and clear. I was in my home office working on a security audit for a client when my phone rang at 9:15. David? Julia's voice was strained, barely controlled. I need to come home, now. What happened? HR called an emergency meeting this morning. Both Andrew and I have been placed on administrative leave pending an investigation into policy violations. I leaned back in my chair. What kind of policy violations? They're claiming that our professional relationship violated the company's ethics code, that the live stream demonstrated inappropriate conduct between a supervisor and a subordinate. Was it inappropriate conduct? David, not now. I need to pack my things and figure out what we're going to do. We? Andrew and I, we need to coordinate our response to this situation. The fact that she was still thinking in terms of Andrew and I told me everything I needed to know about her priorities. Julia, where are you right now? I'm at the hotel. Andrew's meeting with his lawyers this afternoon. And then what? And then we're going to fix this mess. After she hung up, I called Natalie. She answered immediately. The company's issued a statement, she said, finally. What kind of statement? They're saying that both Andrew and I have been terminated for violating the professional conduct policy, that the live stream demonstrated behavior incompatible with the company's values. I'm sorry to hear that. Are you? Are you really sorry, David? Because it seems like you're enjoying this. I'm not enjoying watching you destroy your life, Julia, but I'm also not going to pretend that this is happening to you instead of because of you. Ethan came downstairs and walked directly to the refrigerator, ignoring the tension in the room with the practiced ease of a teenager who'd been watching his parents' marriage deteriorate for months. "Mom, are you going to stay at Monica's?" he asked without turning around. I don't know yet." "Because if you are, you should probably call her. She's been posting about the situation on Facebook, and it's getting pretty messy." Julia immediately opened Facebook on her phone. I watched her face change as she read whatever Monica had written. "She's defending you publicly?" I asked. "She's trying to, but people are responding with screenshots from the live stream, and someone posted a video compilation of all the comments from Saturday night." Julia looked up at me. "David, this is ruining my reputation." "Your reputation was damaged the moment you decided to broadcast your affair to your social media followers." "It wasn't an affair." "Julia, what would you call it?" She didn't answer. Tuesday morning brought news that the story had spread beyond social media. "Our life together." I looked at her carefully. She seemed genuinely confused about why that might not be possible. "Julia, what's happened to your relationship with Andrew?" "It's complicated. He's dealing with his own situation with Natalie, and we both lost our jobs because of the live stream." "So you're both facing consequences for your choices?" "We're both dealing with an overreaction to a misunderstood situation." There it is again, the spin. "David, I'm trying to be realistic about how to move forward." "Being realistic would mean acknowledging that you had an affair with your married boss, broadcast it to the internet, destroyed multiple relationships, and lost your job because of your own poor judgment." Fine. I had an affair. I made terrible choices. I hurt people I care about. Is that what you want to hear? I want to hear the truth. That is the truth. Part of it. What's the rest? She was quiet for a long moment. The rest is that I don't know how to fix what I've broken, and I don't know how to live with what I've done, and I don't know how to face the fact that everyone I know has seen me make the worst decision of my life in real time. Now you're being honest. So what happens now? I looked at my wife of 17 years, sitting in our kitchen, asking me to help her solve a problem she'd created by betraying our marriage. Now you figure out how to build a new life based on the choices you've made. Without you? Julia, you chose Andrew over me. You chose your affair over our family. You chose your ego over our marriage. I didn't end our relationship, you did. I just declined to pretend it didn't happen. She left that night with the last of her belongings, and I changed the locks on all the doors. Brianna had initially been supportive, but that support was wavering as Julia's presence disrupted her household routine. More importantly, Brianna had access to Julia's work emails and internal company communications from before the termination. I reached out to Brianna directly. "I know this is an awkward situation," I told her during our phone conversation, "but I think you should know that Julia's been telling people you encouraged her relationship with Andrew." "That's not true. I warned her multiple times that she was playing with fire." "Do you have any record of those warnings?" "Actually, yes. I saved several text conversations where I told her she was making a mistake." "Brianna, I think those conversations might be important for people to see, not to hurt Julia, but to set the record straight about who was actually giving her good advice." Within hours, Brianna had shared screenshots of her text conversations with Julia, showing months of warnings about the inappropriate nature of her relationship with Andrew. The screenshots revealed Julia's responses, which ranged from dismissive, "You don't understand our connection," to hostile, "You're just jealous that Andrew appreciates my potential." The text screenshots went viral immediately, adding another layer to the public understanding of Julia's decision-making process. It became clear that she'd received multiple warnings from friends and colleagues but had chosen to ignore all of them. More importantly, the screenshots revealed Julia's own words describing her relationship with Andrew in terms that were clearly romantic rather than professional. "Andrew did. But you created the environment that pushed him to make it. I documented publicly available information about your affair. Andrew chose to respond by having a public breakdown and admitting to everything he'd been denying. He's not handling the pressure well. Clearly. David, I'm begging you, please take down the website. Please stop encouraging people to share information about us. Please help us make this go away. I looked at my wife of 17 years standing in our garage asking me to help cover up the affair that had destroyed our marriage. Julia, why should I help you? Because I'm the mother of your son. Because we had 17 good years together. Because you're a decent person who doesn't want to see people suffer. You're right about one thing. I am a decent person, which is why I've limited myself to documenting the truth instead of creating lies or making personal attacks. The truth is destroying us. The truth is revealing the consequences of your choices. David, please, I'll do anything. Will you take full public responsibility for your affair with Andrew? What do you mean? Will you post a public statement acknowledging that you had an affair with your married boss, that you lied about the nature of your relationship, and that you take full responsibility for the consequences? She was quiet for a long moment. Will you take down the website if I do that? I'll consider it. I need to think about it. Take your time, but Julia, understand that every day you delay taking responsibility, more people see through your victim narrative. After she left, Ethan came out of the house, where he'd been watching the conversation through the window. My estranged husband has used his technology skills to systematically destroy our reputations through coordinated social media attacks, privacy violations, and the creation of websites designed to humiliate us. She continued, what began as a misunderstanding about a professional relationship has been twisted into a vindictive revenge campaign. I am speaking out now because I believe others should know how technology can be weaponized by angry ex-spouses to destroy lives. The post included hashtags like #online harassment, tech abuse, and speaking out. The response was not what Julia had expected. Instead of sympathy, her post received hundreds of comments from people who had followed the story from the beginning. They posted links to the timeline documentation, screenshots of her own admissions, and references to Andrew's video confession. Girl, you live-streamed your affair and now you're mad that people saw it? This is not harassment, this is consequences. Your husband documented your public posts. That's not stalking. Maybe don't broadcast your cheating if you don't want people to talk about it. Taking responsibility challenge failed. The most popular comment came from someone who had clearly done their research. Julia, you posted 47 times on social media about your professional relationship with Andrew over 6 months. You went live on Instagram to show off your romantic weekend with him. You texted your friends about falling in love with him. Your husband didn't create this story. You did. He just organized the timeline. Julia's victim narrative had backfired spectacularly. Instead of generating sympathy, it had prompted people to review the evidence more carefully and share it more widely. She can't handle the constant scrutiny and judgment. Then she should stop posting on social media and making public statements. She's trying to defend herself. She's trying to avoid accountability. There's a difference. Julia stepped forward. David, Andrew won't return my calls. His lawyer says he wants nothing to do with me. I've lost my job, my friends, my reputation, and now I'm losing the man I thought I loved. Julia, you lost all of those things when you chose to have an affair with your married boss and broadcast it to the internet. I know I made mistakes, but the punishment doesn't fit the crime. What punishment? You're facing the natural consequences of your choices. The natural consequences are that people know the truth about what you did. Monica interjected. David, you're being vindictive and cruel. Monica, I'm being factual and honest. You're enjoying Julia's suffering. I'm not enjoying anyone's suffering, but I'm also not going to pretend that Julia's choices didn't have consequences. Julia began crying. David, I've lost everything. Please help me figure out how to move forward. Julia, you can move forward by taking full responsibility for your choices, apologizing to the people you hurt, and building a new life based on honesty instead of deception. What about us? What about our marriage? Our marriage ended when you chose Andrew over our family. But I chose wrong. I see that now. Julia, you didn't choose wrong because Andrew turned out to be disappointing.
You chose wrong because you chose to have an affair instead of addressing problems in our marriage honestly. So there's no chance for us to reconcile? I looked at my wife of 17 years, standing on the porch of the house we'd shared, asking if we could rebuild a relationship she'd destroyed through months of deliberate deception. Julia, do you understand why I can't trust you? Because I made a mistake. Because you made hundreds of deliberate choices over months to deceive me, betray our marriage, and prioritize your affair over our family. And because even now, you're trying to minimize your responsibility and blame other people for the consequences. So that's it? 17 years of marriage means nothing? 17 years of marriage meant everything to me. That's why your betrayal was so devastating. David, please, I'll do anything to fix this. Will you take full public responsibility for your affair without blaming anyone else? Yes. Will you apologize publicly to me, to Ethan, and to Natalie for the harm you caused? Yes. Will you stop posting on social media about being a victim of harassment? Yes. Will you enter individual therapy to understand why you made these choices and how to avoid making them again? Yes. And will you accept that even if you do all of those things, I may still choose not to reconcile our marriage? She was quiet for a long time. I need time to think about it. Take all the time you need, Julia, but understand that every day you delay taking responsibility, you make reconciliation less likely. After they left, I realized that I'd just offered Julia a path to potential reconciliation. I wasn't sure if I meant it or if I was testing whether she was capable of the kind of honesty and accountability that would be necessary for any relationship to work. Either way, her response would tell me everything I needed to know about who she had become and whether the person I'd loved for 17 years still existed somewhere beneath the layers of self-deception and blame-shifting. The answer came sooner than I expected. Friday evening arrived with the kind of autumn storm that makes you grateful to be inside. Rain hammered against the windows, and the wind rattled the shutters with increasing intensity. Ethan was upstairs video chatting with friends, and I was in my home office monitoring the latest developments in what had become a social media phenomenon. The professional accountability website was now receiving over 10,000 visitors daily. Business schools were using it in ethics courses. HR professionals were bookmarking it as a training resource, and Julia's story had become a cautionary tale about the intersection of social media, workplace relationships, and personal accountability. But I had a feeling the story wasn't over yet. At 8:30, my phone buzzed with a notification that Julia had gone live on Instagram. Given our conversation the day before, I was curious to see whether she would follow through on her promises to take responsibility. I opened the live stream to find Julia sitting in what appeared to be Monica's living room. She looked composed, almost serene, which immediately made me suspicious. "Hi everyone," she began, speaking directly to the camera with a practiced smile. "I wanted to address everything that's been happening over the past month and set the record straight about some things." The viewer count was climbing rapidly. Word was spreading that Julia was finally going to address the situation directly. "First, I want to acknowledge that I made mistakes in my professional relationship with Andrew Hartwell. I should have been more careful about appearances and more mindful of how my behavior might be perceived." I paused the stream. She was still using euphemisms, professional relationship and mistakes in appearances, rather than affair and deliberate deception. "However," she continued, "I also want people to understand the context of my situation. I was in an unhappy marriage with a husband who had stopped seeing me as anything more than a housekeeper and childcare provider. I was professionally unfulfilled, personally lonely, and emotionally neglected." The comment section was already responding. "Here we go with the excuses. Unhappy marriage doesn't justify cheating. Your husband seems pretty great, actually. Ma'am, this is not taking responsibility." Julia pressed on. "Andrew offered me the professional mentorship and personal attention that I wasn't getting at home. Yes, our relationship developed beyond professional boundaries, but it developed naturally from a foundation of mutual respect and understanding." More comments.
Mutual respect for each other's spouses? Understanding that you were both married? This is not the accountability we were promised. Your son is probably watching this. Andrew was someone else's husband, Julia. But Julia was just getting started. Right now, Julia is broadcasting live to hundreds of people, making public statements about our private family matters. This is the same behavior that created the original situation. Comments on my stream. Both streams open. This is wild. He's fact-checking her in real time. Julia is melting down on her stream. This is better than Netflix. Team David all the way. She's still not taking responsibility. I continued. Julia claims that I manipulated our son into making public statements. Let me be clear. Ethan chose to speak for himself because he was tired of watching his mother blame everyone else for her choices. I have never asked him to defend me publicly, but I won't censor him for telling the truth. On Julia's stream, she was apparently reading comments about my simultaneous broadcast because her composure was deteriorating rapidly. It's typical of David to try to control the narrative, she said, her voice rising. He can't stand that I'm finally telling my side of the story, so he has to interrupt and try to discredit me. Julia, I said, addressing her directly through my stream, you promised yesterday that you would take full responsibility for your affair without blaming anyone else. You promised you would apologize for the harm you caused. Instead, you're doubling down on victim narratives and false accusations. The comment sections on both streams were chaotic. She promised to take responsibility? This is a train wreck in real time. Julia keeps digging herself deeper. David has receipts for everything. Someone screen record all of this. This marriage is over. Julia's response was to escalate further. It had ended as a public demonstration of the consequences of dishonesty and the power of accountability. The story was finally over. Not with dramatic confrontations or revenge plots, but with the simple triumph of truth over deception, integrity over manipulation, and genuine accountability over victim narratives. Julia would have to rebuild her life from the ground up, but at least she was finally ready to do it honestly. Andrew would have to live with the professional and personal consequences of his choices, and Ethan and I would move forward together, stronger for having faced this crisis with our integrity intact. Sometimes, the best revenge is simply living well and letting the truth speak for itself. The live stream was over. The real life was just beginning.